should count. We read his testimony. He claims he didn't strike her. But again, that's not the basis for our motion. The basis for our motion is the clear and undisputed evidence of non-physical abuse. By his definitions, by his standards, by the standards of his expert, there is no dispute that Mr. Depp abused Amber. And therefore, if he did it even one time, there is no dispute that even under their theory of the case, the implication that they want the jury to draw from the article, which again, I'm not arguing for the purposes.
He's not wrong, for the record, even though Johnny Depp's team is saying, okay, Johnny Depp's team is saying that it is defamation to consider him to be someone who is abusive, a wife abuser, someone who did domestic abuse to Amber Heard. But the reality is, and also what his own couples counselor said, was that there was at least some level of mutual abuse. And if you were to do a debate pervert style fucking argument, you could technically say, although Amber Heard is responsible for the overwhelming majority of abuse, specifically acts of physical violence towards Johnny Depp, there was at least one instance in which Johnny Depp was the first abusive person in the physical party, which would then ultimately mean that you can't say there is, you can't say that like it's a complete fabrication to say that Johnny Depp was not abusive in any capacity. And for the record, the physical act of the physical abusive act that I'm referencing is actually the first one, the private jet incident. Not only is it mutual, however, but it's mostly, on top of everything else, Amber Heard's fault for routinely picking fights and not letting Johnny Depp leave, and also on top of that, like escalating to acts of physical confrontation, specifically so Johnny Depp is reacting to that level of physical escalation with physical abuse himself. And in all of those situations, I don't think Johnny Depp is responsible for it. She is the instigating party. But if you're going to be technical about it, yes, his own people did openly admit that. His own witnesses, including the marriage counselor, does admit that there is mutual and reactive abuse, therefore implying that Johnny Depp, at a certain point throughout the relationship, has actually engaged in abuse. Okay? So, for the record, though, I think that this court case is more so about what we're doing right now, which is looking at all of the fucking singular individual instances of abuse and parsing through the information while also taking Johnny Depp's side and understanding Johnny Depp's side as a victim rather than the immediate fucking villain of the story. And in the past, we had only looked at it as Johnny Depp's the villain, Amber Heard is the victim here, or people didn't even care about it, right? So even if it's not legally defamation, right? Even if he loses the defamation suit, he was never going to win over $50 million. Amber Heard doesn't have $50 million in awards to give Johnny Depp anyway. This is about correcting the record. So understand that I think Johnny Depp's ultimate goals of basically changing, changing the public attitude about how he was a wife beater and how, he fucking beat the shit out of Amber Heard and how he was abusive. Like, Johnny Depp's press or Johnny Depp's PR is dramatically shifting. Johnny Depp's attitude in the public consciousness is dramatically shifting away from him being like the wife beater to someone who was actually a victim of domestic violence. And I do agree. I think that he was a victim of domestic violence, and I do think that he deserves to correct the record on this matter. So yes, I do think that even though he loses this defamation suit in the end, probably, and if he won the defamation suit, I would be surprised and also openly state that, like, it's kind of, the judge there definitely offered a lot of leniency to Johnny Depp's defense team, right? The ultimate goal is still to do this. Straight up. We doing incel shit now? I mean, this isn't just incel shit. Saying that this is incel shit is basically openly admitting that like incels are the only ones who are talking about this and should talk about this, and no one else that talks about this can have a serious take on the matter. You know what I mean? It's not good. You offer too much to Amber? I do not. I do not. I think she is a bad person. I think she is an abusive partner. I think she also went so far as to utilize the relationship that she was in with Johnny Depp to turn around and fucking to attack him and to continue the legally speaking. I think what happened with the Sun when the Sun article came out, I think she used that as an opportunity to extend the relationship with Johnny Depp in the same way that she had time and time again in fights. Because whenever Johnny Depp wanted like a post-nuptial agreement, or whenever Johnny Depp wanted to fucking get out of the relationship, she literally fought with him. Right? She fought with him to continue the relationship, to continue the dynamic, to continue the back and forth. And I think like her siding with the Sun and saying like, no, I was a victim of domestic abuse, and like here are all the fucking instances after that amicable split, implies not that she was a fucking brave hero, okay? Not that she was a brave hero, but implies that I think she just wanted to have like one last go at it, you know, be across from him in a fucking court and be in his life in some meaningful capacity. Which is once again, I think something that an abusive partner would do, that like refuses to let go. The PR damage has been done. No amount of record change will fix that. I disagree. I completely disagree. I think that it's not getting a lot of play in mainstream media, but holy fuck, dude. Holy fuck. I mean, the internet and all matter of independent media is like nonstop covering this. My friend, XQC was covering this, and so was Asmongold on this platform alone. XQC had 120,000 people watching him. Watch a fucking court case. The fuck does XQC know about the legal process or domestic violence? Are you fucking insane, dude? And 120,000 people were watching him. And I'm telling you right now, like, I'm sure plenty of people were watching Ludwig too. Like, you know, that's no, people fucking care about this shit. Like 100%. More people were watching this shit than they were, that they give a fuck about fucking abortion laws. You know what I mean? Like, you're crazy. Depp is going to have a role in a Marvel movie lined up within a year. I mean, I don't really care about what kind of roles he might have, but I like some of the XQC streams. What the hell does he know about laws? I mean, yeah. I mean, my mind has changed. I thought Amber Heard hate was just incel redditorship, but now I more or less agree with your take. So, yeah, I think like, stop making fun of XQC. He is so smarter than you give him credit for. Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm the one who says that. Shut up, idiot. You can't come in here and be like, no, I think XQC is very smart. I say it all the time. Yeah, I mean, the OG video for this on YouTube had like 250,000 people watching live.
Of today, because under the legal standard, I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to waste.
I think XQC is smart, but that doesn't mean he's like, super knowledgeable about domestic violence statutes or whatever. You know what I mean?
The court's time with that. But even under their standard, the undisputed evidence is that Mr. Depp did commit abuse against Ms. Heard, and therefore that those first two statements were false. That's our argument on that.
Wouldn't even
As to the headline,
be honest about it.
It's funny, Mr. Chu, we played 2 or 3 hours of an ACLU deposition, and now he says, well, that wasn't our witness. It was his witness, Your Honor. He just spent 10 minutes talking about what Mr. Doherty said, and Mr. Doherty testified that the Washington Post wrote the headline. That is the only evidence, Your Honor. I understand he says, well, Exhibit 1 has her name on it. Exhibit 1 has her name on it. But the only evidence in this case about who wrote that headline is Mr. Doherty's testimony. It is undisputed. They could have put anyone else on. They could have called Ms. Heard for that because that was not part of the stipulation at the pretrial conference. It was only the tweet that we talked about, Your Honor, and they chose not to do that. Now, Ms. Heard will testify she didn't write that headline, so it wouldn't have helped them. But they've had 3 weeks to put on their case, Your Honor. They've controlled the playing field.
I want to hear accusations from Amber Heard's psychologist today. Because from what I understand, it's time. And they were pretty fucking severe, apparently.
There is no dispute that Ms. Heard did not write that headline. No dispute. Simply saying, well, her name is attached to it, that can't overcome the testimony of the ACLU. They call them a co-conspirator. Of course, Mr. Depp chose not to sue them. But the testimony of Terrence Doherty that she didn't write that headline, that takes care of the sexual violence headline, Your Honor. And I'm not going to take up any more of the court's time addressing portions of Mr. Chu's argument that don't go to our motion, unless Your Honor has any specific questions. But I want to be respectful.
All right, thank you, sir. All right. For this motion, I've taken the arguments of counsel, and last night I reviewed all of the evidence that has been submitted in this matter. So as to the second and third alleged defamatory statements, at the motion to strike at this juncture, I view the evidence in the light most favorable to the plaintiff and reasonable inferences from the evidence to the plaintiff. And if there is a scintilla of evidence that a reasonable juror could weigh, then the matter survives a motion to strike. In this matter, there is evidence in the case that a jury could weigh that the state.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch all 3 hours. I want to see the fucking highlights, dude. Amber Heard's former nurse, Erin Filati.
Statements were made by the defendant, that the statements were about the plaintiff, that the statement was published, that the statement is false, and the defendant made the statement knowing it to be false, or the defendant made it so recklessly as to amount to a willful disregard for the truth. The weight of that evidence is up to the fact finder. So the motion to strike is denied as to statement 2 and 3.
It's a complicated case because, like, I think what Johnny Depp ultimately has to establish, his defense team ultimately has to establish, is that, like, Amber Heard was so violent from the jump that all manner of, like, mutual abuse, as indicated by their couples counselor, was still perpetrated originally by Amber Heard, and then Johnny Depp was just reacting to it simply. And also on top of that, which is going to be difficult because the first one is not initiated by her, and it's literally personally fucking admitted by Johnny Depp to not be initiated by her, right? So that is going to be an issue. But ultimately, on top of that, no, I know what the fucking judge just explained. Judge just explained basic defamation and how that works. The elements of what Johnny Depp must have to prove is that Amber said it, that it harmed Johnny Depp, that it was false, and that she knew it was false. Okay? And she was willfully negligent and, like, didn't care and wanted to hurt him, basically, right? Like, that's basic defamation that she's describing. But also on top of that, given the events that we already know of, given all of the evidence that we already have in this he said, she said circumstance of like 14 acts of violence that the original UK court said, Johnny Depp could have perpetrated. In all of those acts of violence, ultimately what you need to fucking prove is that in order for this to be full defamation, you have to basically prove that the couples counselor that said mutual abuse was actually still implying that, like, Amber Heard is the responsible party in all of them, in all acts of violence. Because I feel like even if there's one instance of violence that is perpetrated by Johnny Depp personally, as I believe the first ever incident on the private jet was, that is an incident where, like, you can just basically say it's not defamation then. Now, the UK court was, like, hyper fucking biased, and it was awful, obviously, as I've shown before. But in the American court, the responsibility is even harder. Like, the burden of responsibility for proof of said things is even harder in America. Defamation is easier to prove in the UK, or libel is easy to prove in the UK. It's stacked in the favor of those who are suing for libel. In America, it's the opposite. So that's why I say the ultimate goal of this isn't to win 50 million or prove 50 million in damages and then win 50 million or whatever. The ultimate goal is to correct the record. And I think Johnny Depp is winning on that front. They're doing a really good job. I think his team is doing a very, very good job of
The Johnny
proving
Depp
that.
Amber Heard case in 60 seconds. We've heard some wild stuff during this trial. Claims that Amber in their bed and that she, not Johnny, was a physical abuser. But most people are missing the point. Johnny isn't there to prove that he was abused. He's there to prove that Amber lied about being abused. The whole case is about Amber's 2018 op-ed, where she stated, 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse. Depp says this statement lied about him and damaged his career. But there are two major problems with Depp's case. One, the article never mentions him by name or gives any details about the abuse. It's very vague, and that helps Amber. Abuse comes in many forms, not just physical. If a jury finds that Johnny was abusive in any way, then he could lose. Two, Depp has to show that the article directly caused him to lose money, not for other reasons like substance abuse. Honestly, I think Johnny knows he might take the L here, but cares more about
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, boys. That's why. Yup. He's not going to win. The court is just for show. Because proving all of that is really, really difficult, especially in America. But he's doing it in front of the fucking comments, or in front of the cameras.
telling his side of the story than actually winning. With their careers at risk, ask yourself, who really decides their fates? The courthouse or the court of public opinion? Let me know in the comments.
No, it's the court of public opinion. Yeah. Dude, he literally might win the case. Dude, even if he fucking wins the case, what do you think? Amber Heard has $50 million? Like, no. How are you guys not understanding this? Also, he just literally described exactly what I've been saying, and you're still saying, like, no, actually, that's not true. He's going to win the case. Like, no, I think him winning the case is really difficult. Really, really, really difficult, especially because he himself has been abusive at times. That's the reason why Amber Heard's team tried to fucking drop it today. By saying, like, by basically stating that, by stating that their own witness testimony implied that Johnny Depp was also abusive. Or not a lawyer. I mean, it doesn't matter. The lawyer here and I are in agreement completely. Even if he, for the record, even if he loses, it's still a dub, like I'm stating, and I don't know why the fuck you guys don't understand.
Okay, so this is the first.
Even if you think it's an L, it's still a dub. I don't know why you have to win this argument. I don't know. It's not that I'm winning the argument. I don't think people are understanding my position. He's winning right now. Johnny Depp is winning currently. He doesn't have to actually win the award in the trial. He doesn't have to actually win the trial at all. Okay? It's done. He's already winning. It's a major fucking dub for him because we're watching this. We're watching this. We're watching it unfold, and we are sympathizing with Johnny Depp. There are plenty of people who probably never thought about this before and unconditionally were like, why the fuck would Amber Heard lie about this shit so publicly? And most likely have changed their attitudes now. You know what I mean? The Claudia Wow Pow is so funny because, like, they're a major fucking Johnny Depp simp. Like, literally, since I started this court case, like, they've been fucking going wild. Like, it's fine. Really think he's hot, and you think he's great. I get it. Like, you want your Captain Jack Sparrow to fucking win this court case, and probably not going to happen, but it doesn't matter because he's winning anyway. Being able to restore your image as someone